Celebrities are a huge part of American culture. Some people look up to them and follow their personal lives, and some of us are inspired by their work and music. Nobody likes to learn about a beloved celebrity's passing, but in certain stars' cases, their passing came long before it was their time to go. Now, I won't be breaking down elderly celebrity deaths because those aren't really shocking. I mean, they were old. Come on, you saw it coming. But here is a breakdown of some of the most surprising and shocking celebrity deaths of the 2010s decade. In 2010, we lost two R&B legends. At the beginning of the year, on January 13th, R&B and soul singer Teddy Pendergrass died at age 59 of respiratory failure. His career changed in 1982 when he was severely paralyzed in a car accident. Spinal cord injuries left him paralyzed from the chest down at 31. In June 2009, he underwent successful surgery for colon cancer, and a few weeks later, he returned to the hospital with respiratory issues. He died 7 months later. R&B and soul singer Tina Marie died on December 26 at age 54 after suffering a seizure. In 2004, she was struck in the head by a large frame that fell off the wall while she was sleeping in a hotel. This caused a serious concussion and left her having momentary seizures for the rest of her life. We also lost singer, actress, and civil rights activist Lena Horne, best known for her roles in Cabin in the Sky and The Wiz, on May 9th at age 92.
Child star Gary Coleman, who as a boy provided so much amusement, so many laughs on the hit show Different Strokes, died today in a Utah hospital.
Actor Gary Coleman, best known for his role as Arnold Jackson on Different Strokes, died on May 28th of a brain hemorrhage at age 42. Gary suffered from congenital kidney disease that halted his growth and underwent 2 kidney transplants in his life. He had suffered seizures earlier in the year, and on May 26th, he fell down the stairs at his home and hit his head. The fall was a result of another seizure. He was conscious when he arrived at the hospital, but slipped into a coma and was put on life support. He died 2 days later.
News at 6. Alexander McQueen, the darling of British fashion, has been found dead after apparently committing. Paramedics were called to the designer's London home this morning, but he was pronounced dead at the scene.
British fashion designer Alexander McQueen earned 4 British Designer of the Year awards in his 18 years of fashion. But his achievements couldn't shake his loneliness and depression, and he struggled with drug and alcohol abuse. On February 2nd, his mother Joyce passed away. On February 3rd, via his Instagram account, Alexander wrote about his mom's death. Then a few moments later, he added, "But life must go on." For the next few days, he posted alarming tweets about angels and demons that offered insight on his emotional state. Alexander McQueen was found dead in his London home on February 11th, 2010, 9 days after his mom's death, and left behind a note to look after his dogs. Friends of his said that he was extremely unhappy and doing drugs in the days leading up to his death. Associates of Alexander said he appeared to be planning the end of his life back in October 2009, telling them that his Paris Fashion Week show would be his last. And designer Sebastian Pons said he wanted to take his life on the runway as the conclusion of his final show. Instead, he took his life on February 11th. Alexander McQueen was 40 years old. – 2011 was the year movie legend Elizabeth Taylor passed away at age 79 of congestive heart failure on March 23rd. Actor and comedian Patrice O'Neal died at age 41 after suffering a stroke on November 29th. And Steve Jobs, the person that created the world's leading tech company, Apple, and led a mobile computing revolution with popular devices such as the iPhone, died at age 56 on October 5th.
Rapper Heavy D died yesterday, and everybody's posting on Facebook about some of his great songs. What happened?
Hip-hop legend Heavy D died suddenly on November 8th at the age of 44. Heavy D and the Boys released platinum-selling singles, and he later collaborated with artists like B.B. King, Notorious B.I.G., and Michael Jackson. He had performed at the BET Awards a month prior and appeared to be healthy. On the afternoon of November 8th, he collapsed after returning home from shopping. Heavy was suffering from pneumonia after a recent trip from Europe, and died of a pulmonary embolism caused by deep vein thrombosis.
Rap star Nate Dogg, a frequent collaborator with fellow hip-hop legend Snoop Dogg, died on Tuesday night from, at the time of this report, undisclosed causes.
Hip-hop legend Nate Dogg began singing as a child in Baptist churches and formed a rap trio with Snoop Dogg and Warren G in the early 90s. He helped birth the hip-hop subgenre known as G-Funk by blending singing with rapping. Nate's health had been reported to be in a serious decline in recent years after he suffered strokes in 2007 and 2008, which left him paralyzed on one side of his body and impaired speaking ability. On March 15, 2011, Nate Dogg died of complications from the strokes at age 41.
A major loss in the music world tonight. The gifted singer Amy Winehouse found dead in her London home. She was just 27.
The life of the troubled but talented singer and songwriter Amy Winehouse was cut short on July 23, 2011. She shot to fame in the early 2000s with her jazz music and 1960s-inspired style. After her first album, she went through a period of substance abuse and excessive weight loss, making her a tabloid target. Her struggles birthed the 5-time Grammy-winning album Back to Black. It was the song Rehab about the unsuccessful attempt by her father and her manager to put her in a rehabilitation clinic that dominated the charts. Amy also got into several relationships with men who were also abusing drugs. She often staggered drunk on stage and sounded weak, causing boos from the audience. Amy eventually sobered up and was making plans to release her new album in 2011. Her physician said that she was treated for alcohol withdrawal and anxiety and underwent psychological and psychiatric evaluations in 2010, but refused psychological therapy. On July 23, 2011, her bodyguard found her dead in her London apartment at age 27. Amy accidentally drank herself to death, and 2 empty vodka bottles were found next to her bed. Following her death, Tony Bennett released his duet with Amy on the classic song Body and Soul that they recorded right before her death. Her posthumous compilation album, Lioness Hidden Treasures, was released months later. In 2012, we lost quite a few icons. We lost blues icon Etta James, who died on January 20th after a long battle with leukemia. She was 73, and her birthday was just 5 days away. Actor Michael Clark Duncan, who rose to prominence playing a death row inmate in acclaimed film The Green Mile, died at the age 54 on September 3rd of complications from a heart attack. His family originally thought his girlfriend Omarosa had something to do with it. Sherman Hemsley, best known for his role as George Jefferson on the sitcom The Jeffersons, passed away at his home in El Paso, Texas on July 24th. He died from complications of lung cancer, but he wasn't buried for 4 months thanks to a dispute between his business partner he lived with and a long-lost half-brother, and both men were claiming to be the executor to his estate. He was 74 years old. Robin Gibb, who co-founded the group The Bee Gees with his 2 brothers, passed away on May 20th following his long battle with cancer and intestinal surgery. The godfather of go-go and guitarist Chuck Brown died in Baltimore from pneumonia and multiple organ failure on May 16th at age 75. And Yvette Wilson, the comedian best known for her role as Andell on the 1990s comedy Moesha, died on June 14th of cervical cancer. Her death was shocking because the public didn't hear much from her since the end of the Parkers in 2004. Yvette Wilson was 48 years old. Now, on to the shocking deaths of the year.
Now to the death of Rodney King, the man beaten at the hands of police 2 decades ago, sparking huge riots in Los Angeles and triggering a national conversation about race.
Rodney King, the man who was at the center of the Los Angeles police brutality case that later sparked the Los Angeles riots. The officers pled not guilty, and a white jury acquitted them. The U.S. District Court in Los Angeles awarded him $3.8 million for damages in a civil lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles. After the settlement and the riots, Rodney had a troubled life full of legal issues and drug use. In 2008, he joined the reality show Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew, but he struggled with his sobriety. In April 2012, he published his memoir, The Riot Within: My Journey from Rebellion to Redemption. Then, on June 17th, Rodney King was found dead in his swimming pool from an accidental drowning. Alcohol, cocaine, marijuana, and PCP found in his system were contributing factors. Rodney King was 47 years old.
Hammer in on. This is news coming now. We have confirmed that Donna Summer, the queen of disco, has died this morning after fighting a battle with cancer.
Disco legend Donna Summer was a 5-time Grammy Award winner who shot to stardom in the 1970s with iconic hits like Last Dance, Hot Stuff, and Bad Girls. Donna had an apartment near the World Trade Center during the September 11 terrorist attacks and inhaled toxic dust particles and fumes as the buildings collapsed. This resulted in health issues, and Donna Summer died on May 17, 2012, at the age of 63 after battling lung cancer.
Take a moment to note the passing of Don Cornelius, the creator of Soul Train. He died today in Los Angeles at 75.
The legendary Don Cornelius created and hosted the long-running dance and music television show Soul Train. The show ran for 35 years and gave many African-American musicians exposure. Don was plagued by health issues in the last 3 decades of his life. He underwent a 21-hour operation in 1982 to correct a congenital malformation in blood vessels in his brain and was having seizures in the last 15 years of his life. In 2008, he was arrested for assaulting his estranged wife. Some close to him described him as being hurt and distraught by bad business decisions, poor health, and an ugly divorce that took hundreds of thousands of dollars from his children and other family members. In the early hours of February 1st, police responded to a report of a shooting at his house. His son had spoken to him within the hour and was concerned about comments his father made. He was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. No note was left behind. Don Cornelius was 75 years old.
Yes, good morning, George. It happened here at 3:43 yesterday afternoon when a member of Houston's entourage located her body inside this hotel. So far, police and the coroner are refusing to offer details about what may have caused her tragic death. Exactly what happened inside the iconic Beverly Hilton remains a mystery. Paramedics raced to the 4th floor and found a lifeless Whitney Houston inside her hotel room bathtub.
Whitney Houston was one of the world's best-selling music artists, with 200 million records sold worldwide. She was born into a musical family. Her mother was gospel singer Cissy Houston, who sang backup for people like Elvis Presley and David Bowie. Aretha Franklin was Whitney's godmother, and Dionne Warwick was her cousin. Whitney released her debut album at 22 and scored 3 #1 singles. Her album, Whitney, released in 1987, delivered 4 more #1s and earned her a Grammy, with later albums including I'm Your Baby Tonight and My Love Is Your Love, as well as soundtracks to The Bodyguard and Waiting to Exhale. Whitney used drugs regularly throughout her career, but it wasn't until her marriage to singer Bobby Brown in 1992 when her drug use spiraled out of control. Bobby was dealing with his own legal troubles and addiction, and those two entered a tumultuous relationship full of violence and drugs. They welcomed their daughter, Bobby Christina, in 1993. Their marriage attracted a lot of media attention for their erratic behavior, and their reality show only caused more damage. By the early 2000s, Whitney grew increasingly thin, and in an interview with Diane Sawyer, she admitted to using marijuana, alcohol, cocaine, and pills, but denied smoking crack, saying, "Crack is whack," a catchphrase quickly adopted by comedians and late-night talk show hosts in relation to the now erratic singer. Bobby and Whitney got divorced in 2007, and Whitney entered rehab on 2 separate occasions. Whitney was getting her life back on track and released her new album, I Look to You, in August 2009. She embarked on the album's world tour, but received negative reviews from fans who were disappointed in the quality of her voice and performance. In early 2012, in the days leading up to the Grammy Awards, she was seen out on the town with Ray J, looking disheveled and erratic. Paparazzis captured her with scratches on her arm and blood on her legs. On February 11, 2012, Whitney checked into the Beverly Hilton Hotel with an entourage of family and friends. At 3:35 p.m., her assistant, Mary Jones, found her face down in the bathtub. CPR was administered and paramedics were called. The police who arrived on the scene found an open bottle of champagne and a spoon containing a white crystal-like substance. Weeks later, an autopsy report would reveal Whitney's death was a result of accidental drowning, heart disease, and cocaine use. There were additional traces of muscle relaxant, Xanax, marijuana, and an allergy medication in the singer's system. Whitney died of an accidental drowning with heart disease from an overdose. Whitney was 48 years old, and with her passing, the music world lost one of the most legendary stars. "2013 was the year we lost Nelson Mandela, the former South African president and Nobel Peace Prize winner. He passed following prolonged troubles from a recurrent lung infection on December 5th at the age 95. Corey Monteith, best known for starring as the singing football player Finn Hudson on the hit Fox series Glee, was found dead in his hotel room in Vancouver, Canada. He died from an overdose on heroin and alcohol on July 13th at age 31.
The first day of the year brings some sad news out of Hollywood. Actor James Avery, well known as Uncle Phil from the 90s show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, has died.
On December 31st, 90s sitcom fans were shocked to hear about the death of James Avery, who was best known for playing Will Smith's Uncle Phil on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He died of complications from undergoing open-heart surgery for an undisclosed illness and passed away at an LA hospital at age 68. His remains were cremated and scattered in the Pacific Ocean.
Confirming actor Thompson Young was found dead in Los Angeles just a couple of hours ago. He starred in Disney's The Famous Jet Jackson, currently has been starring in the TNT show called Rizzoli and Isles, and I just want to read part of a statement from TNT.
Thompson Young rose to fame in the leading role of the Disney Channel series The Famous Jet Jackson. He was originally from South Carolina and went on to star in Johnny Tsunami and also portrayed running back Chris Coleman in the 2004 movie Friday Night Lights. His last acting role was the star of TNT's series Rizzoli and Isles. On August 19th, after missing a call time on set for the show, his manager requested a welfare check. He was found dead in his apartment from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. At the time of his death, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, suffering from depression, and was taking medication for the condition. No note was left behind, and no traces of opiates, alcohol, cocaine, or other drugs were found in his system. Thompson Young was 29 years old.
On the deaths of Fast and Furious star Paul Walker and his friend killed in a fiery car accident over the weekend. Investigators working right now to determine the cause of the wreck. ABC's Cecilia Vega has the story.
The most shocking death of 2013 was probably Paul Walker, the star of the Fast and Furious movie franchise. After appearing in several television shows in the 1990s, including Who's the Boss and The Young and the Restless, Paul got his breakthrough role in 2001 with The Fast and the Furious, which established him as an action film regular. Off-screen, he really enjoyed racing in Southern California and had competed in several races. On November 30th, Paul was in Santa Clarita, California for a fundraising event for Reach Out Worldwide, the international nonprofit organization he established in 2010 to aid first responders during natural disasters. He was in the passenger seat of a Porsche when his friend who was driving lost control, crashing the vehicle into a tree. The car's speed was about 100 miles per hour at the time of the crash, and the vehicle immediately bursted into flames. Both of their bodies were burned beyond recognition. Paul's brothers Cody and Caleb filled in as body doubles for scenes that his character was supposed to appear in for Fast and Furious 7. In 2015, his daughter Meadow filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Porsche, claiming that the car's design defects killed her father. But Porsche said that Paul's death was his own comparative fault, alleging the car had been abused and altered, and a judge ruled in Porsche's favor. The two parties eventually reached a settlement. Paul Walker was 40 years old. In 2014, we lost acclaimed actress and civil rights activist Ruby Dee at age 91 on June 11th. English columnist and socialite Peaches Geldof died of a heroin overdose on April 7th at age 25. One of the most iconic child stars of the 20th century, Shirley Temple, died on February 10th at age 85. and African-American author, poet, and one of the most important writers of her generation, Maya Angelou, sadly passed away at the age of 86 on May 28th.
Tragedy hits Hollywood. Stephanie Mosley, a beautiful actress and a dancer who worked on the VH1 show, hit the floor, and with J.Lo, Pharrell, Rihanna, amongst many others, shot to death at the hands of her rapper husband, who then killed himself.
Actress, dancer, and choreographer Stephanie Mosley appeared in Twilight Breaking Dawn and starred in VH1's drama series Hit the Floor. As a backup dancer, she worked for Janet Jackson, Chris Brown, Jennifer Lopez, and Britney Spears. She was married to rapper Earl Hayes, who was also a member of Floyd Mayweather's Money Team. In the early hours of December 8th, neighbors in her LA apartment complex heard a woman screaming in her apartment before shots rang out. The SWAT team knocked down the door of the apartment and found 2 people shot to death. Earl shot his wife 10 times before turning the gun on himself. Earl went into a jealous rage and accused Stephanie of cheating on him with Trey Songz. In an interview with the Los Angeles Police Department, Floyd Mayweather claims he was FaceTiming with Earl when he left the conversation to shoot Stephanie, who was taking a bath. Floyd alleged that Earl called him to discuss Stephanie's infidelity and to say goodbye. Stephanie Mosley was just 30 years old.
Here's Cynthia McFadden.
Good day. We bring you some sad news from the entertainment world. Joan Rivers, one of the giants of American comedy, has died in New York. She'd been on life support since late last week when she reportedly stopped breathing while undergoing a procedure on her throat at a clinic here in Manhattan.
Comedian and television host Joan Rivers got her start in show business soon after appearing in off-Broadway plays in the late 1950s and performing stand-up routines in comedy clubs. Over the next 7 decades, she became a popular daytime TV host and became the nation's most famous red carpet fashion queen. On August 28, 2014, she was hospitalized following throat surgery after she stopped breathing during the procedure. She remained in the hospital and was kept on life support as her condition fluctuated. Joan Rivers died on September 4th from lack of oxygen to her brain. She was 81 years old. Her daughter, Melissa Rivers, filed a lawsuit against the New York City clinic in 2015, alleging that the doctors performed unauthorized medical procedures as they were caught taking a selfie with her while she was under anesthesia. Melissa settled the medical malpractice suit in 2016.
Are reacting tonight to the terrible news of the death of Robin Williams. A statement from his wife confirming his death alludes to his battle with depression, and now we know why.
Robin Williams was one of the most successful actors and comedians of all time. His performance in movies like Mrs. Doubtfire, Dead Poets Society, Jumanji, Aladdin, and The Birdcage helped them become blockbuster hits and gain commercial success. Robin developed a drug addiction in the late 70s and early 80s, but it was the death of a friend and fellow actor John Belushi in 1982 and the birth of his son that made him quit drugs. John reportedly died of an overdose the morning after hanging out with Robin. By 2003, he had developed an alcohol addiction and checked into rehab in 2006. By the 2010s, his life was plagued with health issues, addiction, and severe depression. By 2014, he had put in about 35 years as a professional entertainer and was now struggling both professionally and personally. Starting in October 2013, Robin began to experience a series of physical ailments varying in their severity and seemingly unconnected to one another, and suffered from extreme anxiety, memory loss, paranoia, and delusions. In 2014, he checked into rehab for alcoholism. On the morning of August 11th, his personal assistant became concerned at about 11:45 after he failed to answer knocks at his door. The assistant eventually managed to open the door and found him dead. Robin took his life, and according to the autopsy, neither alcohol nor illegal drugs were involved. Robin Williams was 63 years old, and his death was one of the most devastating ones of the decade. In 2015, we lost blues legend B.B. King on May 14th at age 89. Charmaine Maxwell of the 90s R&B group Brownstone passed away after cutting her neck on a glass on February 27th at age 46. American Horror Story actor Ben Wolf passed away on February 27th at age 34 after being hit by a car. Ahmad Givens, star of VH1's Real Chance of Love and I Love New York, died at age 33 on February 20th after battling colon cancer. Longtime anchor on ESPN Stuart Scott died of cancer on January 4th at age 53. And Natalie Cole, the daughter of the legendary performer Nat King Cole, and known for the songs Unforgettable, Inseparable, and This Will Be, died on December 31st at age 65. Now on to probably the most talked about death that year.
Made her transition peacefully, finally at peace, peace at last, from Oprah Winfrey. In the language used by those who loved Bobby Christina Brown as her death was announced, could be detected an abiding religious faith, and the sense that here on earth, peace for this 22-year-old daughter of Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown.
Bobby Christina Brown, the daughter of singers Bobby Brown and the late Whitney Houston. Bobby Christina was born on March 4th, 1993, during the height of her parents' rocky relationship. Upon hearing the news of her mother Whitney's death in 2012, Bobby Christina was reportedly so hysterical, exhausted, and inconsolable that she had to be rushed to the hospital on 2 separate occasions. Shortly after Whitney Houston's death, she entered a relationship with a guy named Nick Gordon, a family friend that Whitney considered her adopted son and she considered a big brother. Their relationship was tumultuous and almost identical to her parents' marriage, with violence and substance abuse. Their relationship drama was always the center of media headlines. In late 2012, Bobby Christina and Nick had an altercation in the car, which led to them crashing. The fight continued to their apartment, where cops were called, but no one answered the door. After at least 10 noise complaints at the apartment, the couple was evicted, and Bobby Christina left a nasty note for her neighbors. Their engagement was denounced by the Houston family. The downward spiral and family drama continued for the next few years until January 2015, when Bobby Christina was found face down and unresponsive in a bathtub before being rushed to the hospital. The tragedy came just days shy of the 3-year anniversary of her mother Whitney Houston's death, who was eerily also found unconscious face down in a bathtub on February 11, 2012. Bobby Christina Brown tragically died on July 26, 2015, after being in a medically induced coma for 6 months due to drug intoxication and immersion in water. She was 23 years old. The family won a wrongful death lawsuit against Nick Gordon, which he was ordered to pay $36 million. No word on whether he started paying yet. – 2016 was another one of those years where we lost a bunch of icons, or probably the most icons of the decade. British singer George Michael, known for his hits Careless Whispers and Last Christmas, ironically died on December 25th at his home in London at age 53. Gene Wilder, who played Willy Wonka in 1964, passed away on August 29th at age 83. 3-time heavyweight boxing champion Muhammad Ali passed away at 74 years old on June 3rd. Female wrestler Chyna died of an apparent drug overdose on April 17th at age 46. Legendary British actor Alan Rickman passed away on January 14th at age 69. Rapper Shawty Lo lost his life in a car crash on September 21st at age 40. Transgender activist, actress, and member of the Arquette family, Alexis Arquette, passed away on September 11th at age 47. Thomas Ford, best known for his role as Tommy on the 90s sitcom Martin, passed away unexpectedly on October 12th at age 52. And founder and lead singer of Earth, Wind, and Fire, Maurice White, passed away on February 4th after battling Parkinson's disease for more than 2 decades. He was 74 years old.
David Bowie passing away overnight, just days after turning 69 and releasing his final album. So many celebrating his incredible contribution to music.
Legendary musician, artist, fashion icon, and original pop chameleon, David Bowie was one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century for his innovative work. His first album, David Bowie, was released in 1967, and in the 70s, he achieved international success with his soul and funk-style album, Young Americans. By the 2000s, David Bowie stepped away from the public eye, but continued to release albums. On his 69th birthday on January 8, 2016, he released his final album, Black Star. 2 days later, on January 10th, after an 18-month battle with cancer, David Bowie passed away surrounded by his family. Despite his cancer diagnosis, David continued to make music and worked on his off-Broadway musical, Lazarus. Before his death, he wrote a 5-year plan for what he wanted done with his music after he died and planned his cremation and funeral arrangements to ease the stress of his wife, supermodel Iman, and his children. His ashes were scattered in Bali, Indonesia.
Tragedy strikes twice for one of Hollywood's most famous families. Just 1 day after the death of her daughter, Carrie Fisher, Debbie Reynolds passed away from a stroke. Family and fans coming to grips with the sudden loss of two icons from two different eras in Hollywood. Both women fixtures in American pop culture for decades.
Emmy Award-winning actress Debbie Reynolds had a career that spanned decades since the 1950s. She starred in How the West Was Won and played Aggie Cromwell in the Disney Halloween Town series. Debbie had 2 children, Carrie and Todd, with her first husband, singer Eddie Fisher. Her daughter Carrie Fisher made her film debut in 1975 in the movie Shampoo and was best known for her portrayal in the Star Wars films. In Carrie's life, she struggled with addiction and bipolar disorder and overdosed in 1985. On December 23rd, she suffered a heart attack on a flight from London to Los Angeles. After being in intensive care for 4 days, Carrie Fisher died on December 27th at age 60. She had cocaine, morphine, and ecstasy in her system, which could have damaged her heart. Her mother, actress Debbie Reynolds, died 1 day later at age 84 from a stroke. The stress of her daughter's death may have been too much for her, who already suffered and survived small strokes in recent years. Her son Todd Fisher said, "The last thing she said this morning was that she was very, very sad about losing Carrie, and that she would like to be with her again." 15 minutes later, she suffered a severe stroke.
Come on the air tonight, investigators are trying to understand why a heavily armed man opened fire on a young pop star just as she finished what would become her final performance. Christina Grimmie, rising to fame on The Voice, was signing autographs when she was shot. This photo of the singer and a fan believed to be one of her last.
YouTube star and contestant of the NBC show The Voice, Christina Grimmie, was a rising singer. At the age of 15, she began uploading videos of herself singing cover songs onto YouTube, where she gained a following, and auditioned for season 6 of NBC's singing competition, The Voice. She held a concert in Orlando, Florida at the Plaza Live on June 10, 2016. After the show, she signed autographs and greeted fans. As she approached one fan to give a hug, he pulled out a gun and fired, hitting her in the head and in the chest. Her brother immediately tackled the gunman, who then shot and killed himself during the struggle. It was discovered that the fan had an unhealthy obsession with her. Christina Grimmie was only 22 years old.
And we are coming on the air right now with the breaking news that the pioneering musician Prince has died at the age of 57. His publicist, Yvette Noel-Schur, told the Associated Press the music icon was found dead at his home Thursday in suburban Minneapolis. Sources had said he had been sick for some time, battling the flu. In fact, last weekend, his plane had to make an emergency landing.
The death of legendary musician Prince shocked the world in 2016. He was a singer, songwriter, actor, multi-instrumentalist, philanthropist, dancer, and record producer who combined soul, funk, rock, R&B, hip-hop, disco, and jazz. He won 7 Grammy Awards, an American Music Award, a Golden Globe, and an Academy Award for the film Purple Rain. On April 7, 2016, Prince postponed 2 concerts in Atlanta, claiming he had the flu. While returning to Minneapolis, Prince's private plane made an emergency landing at about 1 a.m. after he overdosed on opioids. A bodyguard carried Prince, who was unconscious, from the plane. Emergency responders administered a shot of Narcan, an opioid antidote, and took him to the hospital. He did not stay, however, and returned to Minneapolis later that day. Prince admitted that he had taken painkillers. On April 16th, a California addiction specialist was called to help him get off prescription painkillers. On April 21, 2016, shortly after arriving at Prince's Paisley Park home and studio, about 9:30 a.m., staffers and friends found Prince's body in an elevator. Emergency responders arrived 5 minutes later and pronounced him dead at about 10 o'clock. Several hours after Prince's body was found, investigators obtained a search warrant and searched Paisley Park and obtained dozens of pills. An autopsy found he died of an accidental overdose of fentanyl, a synthetic opioid 50 times more powerful than heroin. Prince was 57 years old. In 2017, we lost popular TV actress and Touched by an Angel star Della Reese on November 19th at age 86. Musician Tom Petty died on October 2nd at age 66. Playboy creator and magazine mogul Hugh Hefner died on September 27th at age 91. Christopher Big Black Boykin, the reality star and bodyguard of Rob Dyrdek, passed away on May 9th at age 45. Rock singer Chris Cornell took his life on May 18th at age 52. And one of the pioneers of rock and roll, Chuck Berry, died at age 90 on March 18th.
Now with the latest on comedian Charlie Murphy, the older brother of Eddie Murphy, passing away after a brave battle with leukemia. Tributes pouring in overnight and over social media, and beautiful words from his brother, as you can imagine. ABC's Morris Gavacampo has.
Chappelle Show star, writer, and comedian Charlie Murphy made his big screen debut in 1989's Harlem Nights, directed by his younger brother Eddie Murphy, and appeared in roles for Spike Lee's films like Mo Better Blues and Jungle Fever. In 2009, his soulmate and wife of 12 years, Tisha Taylor, passed away after losing her battle with cancer, and Charlie admitted that her death had a huge impact on his life. On April 12, 2017, Charlie died after battling leukemia, leaving the comedy world devastated. Charlie Murphy was 57 years old.
Hi! I missed you! An actress and comedian who openly battled depression has taken her own life.
Stevie Ryan rose to fame after her YouTube channel Little Loca went viral. Her celebrity impersonations, YouTube popularity, and viral parodies landed her a VH1 sketch comedy series called Stevie TV in 2012. She had opened up to followers about her struggles with depression and had co-hosted a podcast on the topic called Mentally Chill. The same podcast also touched on how the loss of a loved one could affect depression. She had revealed that her grandfather had died recently. On July 1st, Stevie Ryan was found dead in her home at age 33. She took her own life.
The outpouring of support after the tragic death of Linkin Park's lead singer Chester Bennington, the Grammy Award-winning father of 6 believed to have taken his life at his home in California.
Chester Bennington was best known as the frontman of rock band Linkin Park. The band was formed in 1996 and went on to sell over 70 million albums worldwide. Linkin Park incorporated rapping in their music and often discussed depression in their lyrics. Chester suffered from depression for most of his life and struggled with drug and alcohol abuse. On July 20th, Chester Bennington was found dead in his home near Los Angeles. He took his life at age 41. 2018 was the year model, actress, mother of 4, and ex-girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs, Kim Porter, passed away unexpectedly on November 15th at age 47. The legendary writer, editor, and publisher of Marvel Comics, Stan Lee, passed away on November 12th at 95 years old. Reg E. Cathey, the Emmy Award-winning actor from House of Cards, passed away on February 9th at age 59. Troubled rapper XXXTentacion was gunned down on June 18th at 20 years old. Successful talent manager and father of the Jackson siblings, Joe Jackson, passed away on June 27th at age 89. And the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, passed away at 76 years old on August 16th. Now, 2017 and 2018 were definitely dark years because some of the biggest stars were rocked by mental illness.
Mac Miller has died at age 26 from an apparent overdose.
I was just a kid putting music on the internet, and then my fans kind of went crazy. And it wasn't until my fans were so undeniable that people really started, focusing on who I was. So
Rapper and producer Mac Miller rose to fame with his mixtape Best Day Ever in 2011. He struggled with drug addiction and depression and spoke about using music as therapy. Mac was found dead in his bed in his Studio City, California home on September 7th of an accidental overdose on fentanyl, cocaine, and alcohol. A year later, 3 men were charged with providing him with counterfeit oxycodone pills that contained fentanyl. Mac Miller was 26 years old.
We're following some sad news from the music world. EDM star Avicii has died. He was found dead in the city of Muscat, Oman. Avicii, born Tim Bergling in Sweden, was considered a pioneer of electronic dance music, also known as EDM. He retired from touring in 2016 due to health issues. As a DJ, he sold out worldwide arenas with hits like 2013's Wake Me Up.
Swedish DJ and producer Avicii scored a massive crossover folk electronica US hit in 2013 with his song Wake Me Up, before retiring from touring in 2016. Throughout his career, Avicii dealt with numerous health problems, including acute pancreatitis, in part due to excessive drinking. In 2014, he had surgery to remove his gallbladder and appendix. These issues eventually led Avicii to retire from touring in 2016. Though he continued to make music. In a documentary titled Avicii: True Stories, released that October, he reportedly warned that touring lifestyle was going to kill him, but that he was being pressured to continue.
Sen är det sen veckan efter.
Jag får panik här. Jag får panik. På riktigt.
Men sen i augusti så är det...
Jag får panik av hela den här grejen. Jag kommer inte kunna göra det.
I was expecting support in stopping. I was expecting, especially with what I've been through. And I've been very open with everyone I work with and everyone who knows me. I've been very open with what I've been through and what I've felt and what I've done and what, everyone knows that I've been anxious and, everything, and that I've been trying. So I didn't expect people to try to push me to do more shows when they'd seen how shitty I felt.
On April 20th, Avicii's body was found in Muscat, Oman, where he had been on vacation. He took his life by cutting himself with a piece of broken bottle. His family released a statement and described him as a seeker and fragile artistic soul searching for answers.
Verne Troyer has died. He was 49. The actor's team took to Instagram to share the sad news with fans, writing in part, "It is with great sadness and incredibly heavy hearts to write that Verne passed away. Depression and suicide are very serious issues. You never know what kind of battles someone is going through inside."
Actor Verne Troyer, best known for his role as Mini-Me in Austin Powers, was born with a form of dwarfism that stopped him from growing past 2 feet 8 inches. He was hospitalized in October 2012 for alcohol poisoning, and the world saw his alcohol abuse play out on season 4 of the VH1 reality show, The Surreal Life. In early April 2018, law enforcement was called to his home by a friend that described him as being extremely upset, drunk, and threatening to take his life. And Verne was transported to a hospital for possible alcohol poisoning. He had previously been admitted to rehab to undergo treatment for alcoholism. On April 21st, 2018, Verne Troyer died at the age of 49. He drank himself to death on purpose.
Sad headline here in New York City tonight. Well-known designer Kate Spade was found dead in her apartment today. Her death an apparent suicide. She did leave a letter behind, and here's ABC's Eva Pilgrim.
Fashion designer and businesswoman Kate Spade launched a handbags line in 1993 with her husband Andy Spade. In 1999, she and her husband Andy sold 56% of the brand to Neiman Marcus for $33.6 million. The luxury company Coach announced plans in May 2017 to buy Kate Spade New York for $2.4 billion. The brand Kate Spade New York has more than 140 retail shops and outlet stores across the United States and more than 175 stores internationally. On June 5th, a housekeeper found her dead in her Park Avenue apartment in Manhattan. Kate had taken her life and left behind a note addressed to her daughter that read, "I have always loved you. This is not your fault. Ask Daddy." Kate's sister admitted that she suffered from bipolar disorder, anxiety, and depression, but was reluctant to seek help for fear of how hospitalization might harm the image of the happy-go-lucky Kate Spade brand. Kate Spade was 55 years old.
Shocking death of a man who touched so many of our lives, a man who seemed to live his own life to the limit. Anthony Bourdain, chef, author, TV show host, he showed us the world sitting down for a meal with strangers, making them his friends. Last seen a few days ago in France, there he was, shooting a new episode of his show Parts Unknown. And it was there in France that a close friend found him dead of suicide this morning.
Chef, travel host, and author Anthony Bourdain started his 2-season run on the Food Network's A Cook's Tour, a series featuring him traveling the world seeking culinary adventures in 2002. He went on to host different food programs on the Travel Channel and CNN. In June 2018, Anthony was in Kiersberg, France, shooting footage for his CNN show Parts Unknown. On June 8th, his friend, Chef Eric, found him unresponsive in his hotel room. Anthony took his life 12 days before his 62nd birthday. According to friends, he was laughing, smiling, and full of personality, and showing no signs of depression before his death. There were no traces of narcotics, toxic products, medicines, or alcohol in his system. He was 61 years old. And finally, the last year of the decade. In 2009, we lost designer and Chanel's creative director, Karl Lagerfeld, on February 19th at age 85. American politician and civil rights advocate Elijah E. Cummings passed away on October 17, 2009 at age 68. Rock star Eddie Money, known for hits like Baby Hold On, 2 Tickets to Paradise, and Take Me Home Tonight, passed away on September 13th at age 70. Actor and comedian John Witherspoon, known for his father figure roles, died suddenly at his home on October 30th at age 77. Rapper Juice WRLD, most famous for his song Lucid Dreams, passed away on December 8th at age 21 after suffering a seizure. Pioneering actress Diahann Carroll, well known for her TV series Julia, as well as roles on Dynasty and Grey's Anatomy, died of cancer on October 4th at age 84. And we lost American novelist and Nobel laureate Toni Morrison on August 5th at 88 years old. Now let's break down the final shocking deaths of the decade.
A Disney Channel star has died.
Yeah, Cameron Boyce's family has confirmed that news, and CBS 2's Joy Benedict is live in Hollywood with more for us. Joy, this is really a tough loss for so many.
It really is, Amy, and I know you had a chance to meet Cameron Boyce once when you were out doing a story, and just everyone talks about this young man, not necessarily so much about his acting career or not only his acting career, but the stuff that he did off camera. But we have learned that Cameron Boyce died yesterday at the age of 20. He was asleep. His family says he had a seizure. That was because of an ongoing medical condition.
Cameron Boyce was a child star best known for his features in Disney Channel series Jessie and in the 3 Descendants movies. On July 6, he tragically died in his sleep at age 20 following an epileptic seizure.
Tonight here, remembering a director, a trailblazer who began a conversation at just 23.
John Singleton was a filmmaker whose groundbreaking 1991 drama film Boys in the Hood made him the first Black director and also the youngest person to receive an Academy Award nomination. He also worked as a screenwriter on films such as the 2000's Shaft and also as a producer working on Hustle and Flow and Black Snake Moan. On April 17, 2019, he suffered a stroke and was placed in a medically induced coma. John Singleton passed away on April 29th at age 51. And finally, the biggest story of the year.
And the people of this community, you can see the very large crowd of mourners who are gathered here at the scene tonight. They've been here since this afternoon. This talented 33-year-old rapper was shot and killed in the South Los Angeles community he grew up in. Hundreds of stunned fans gather on Slauson Avenue, standing a few feet away from the strip mall where rapper Nipsey Hussle was gunned down.
Los Angeles rapper Nipsey Hussle first gained attention for his mixtapes. He grew up in Crenshaw and was known for his charitable work around his neighborhood. He opened a workspace and science, technology, engineering, and mathematics center that he described as a bridge between Silicon Valley and the inner city. His debut album, Victory Lap, received a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Album in 2019. On the afternoon of March 31st, Nipsey spent part of the afternoon signing autographs, taking photos with fans, and talking with friends at the Hyde Park strip mall where he owned several businesses. Around 3 p.m., he was shot dead while in the parking lot, and 2 others were wounded in the shooting. Immediately, a conspiracy theory spread across the internet about Nipsey being murdered by the government because he was working on a documentary about a controversial self-proclaimed Honduran healer who died in 2016 named Alfredo Bowman, or more widely known as Dr. Sebi. These allegations were spread without any evidence and were also debunked when the 29-year-old male suspect was identified and arrested. His memorial service was held on April 11th at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, and it was the second funeral to be held at the venue after Michael Jackson and drew more than 20,000 people. Whose death shocked you the most this decade, and do you remember where you were when you got the news? We still have a few more weeks before the decade is officially over, so hopefully we don't lose any more icons. I'll see you guys in the next video to give you the most shocking moments of the 2010s decade. Just make sure you like this video and subscribe to Black Femininity TV for more content.